This is Chicago. This is the South Side. It's one of the most notorious neighborhoods in the United States. This is me. I didn't grow up there, but my parents did. I visit family there multiple times a year, and every time I'm there, I get a weird, fearful feeling in my gut. I can't help it. The South Side is known for its gun violence and unsafe streets, but I wonder, was it always like that? I asked my mother, her sister, her mother, and my father to tell me.
Okay, so this is a little history you probably didn't know. This house right here next to this church is where my grandparents, your grandmother's mother, lived on the second floor.
Oh, okay.
And I talk about we used to stay right here in that building too, in the basement. Yeah. I talk about my best girlfriend, Angela.
She was right there.
That was her house right there.
Oh, so you guys live close to the school.
Right. And Uncle Billy used to live in this house right there.
I feel like I knew that. I feel like we've been, because there's a church.
There's a church.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, we used to have block parties, turn the fire hydrant on. Everybody used to hang out. Our mamas used to sit on the porch. We could play after it got dark. And it was like a nice community thing.
There was always, you could hear this noise, this laughter from the playground from the kids. I remember that we played sports. The girls jumped rope or hopscotch. By me having 4 sisters, I learned how to do those things too. Our childhood was pretty normal, happy, you know.
We can cap back on the stories of sleep in the park in the summertime. It was fun.
Playing outside and after school and knowing who the neighbors were and running to the store for the old lady on the block that gave out candy to people who would run to the store. I didn't grow up in an era of being afraid. And we were more unified and we were more optimistic in opportunities and things that would occur. And we played outside. That was the era where kids literally played outside. We sat out on porches, we knew our neighbors.
Everything was, you had your little bad kids or whatever, but everybody got along and everything was cool. It was a sense of community.
Maybe a few fights over the summer, but still no major crime or anything. It was, in our neighborhood, we always watched out for each other's sisters and their mothers.
But now, when I go back to the old neighborhood, nobody talks to anybody. Nobody knows who their neighbors are. The little bad kids, they are really bad kids. All the shooting, it wasn't a lot of, you knew not to just shoot into a crowd. These kids now, they just shoot anywhere. They have no respect for children, adults, elderly, or there's no sense of community anymore.
A feeling of community was there. Now, a lot of places on the South Side, it doesn't even exist.
Back in the 50s and the 60s, we was able to go in the park and sleep overnight. Now you're afraid to walk through the park during the daytime. You can't sleep in the park at night. You can't sleep with your doors open at night at home. You can't sit on your porch in the daytime like we used to. And it's like the neighbors would all get out and sit on the porches and laugh and talk. We can't do that anymore. You have to confine yourself to the house, and then you're afraid in the house because they shoot at random and you don't know when a bullet might just come through.
I went through there maybe a year ago, and the playground where we played at, the city closed that, and now it's just abandoned.
When I left the Chicago, it was also an era where drug wars had become commonplace. In fact, that is with the presence of crack cocaine in black communities, which then created gang wars in a different way, particularly with gun violence.
We go to church on Sunday. We have been afraid of sitting in church because they rob the churches. They shoot up the churches. You don't know where to go.
So when drugs get in the neighborhood and, you get all kind of violence,
And if you know anything about drugs, guns are always with drugs. So then that shifted, along with, at that time, there was a shift of Black Americans being more upward mobile from the benefits of the civil rights movements and its victories, leaving the south side of Chicago. And so now you have a more impoverished community, and that's one of the first elements that lends itself to high incident of crime. You have more concentrated areas of poverty. So we see now even vacant homes in the neighborhood that I grew up in as a child. We didn't have a lot of homes that were boarded up. We didn't have a lot of empty vacant lots, but that's what's in the area where I grew up in now, a lot of boarded up homes.
One of the things that is missing right now is a lot of hope. Those kids that's growing up are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. It's almost like living in a war zone. So now your head is always on a swivel, and you get desensitized about hearing somebody got shot, somebody got killed.
The nature of lack of job opportunities and actual sound education opportunities breeds poverty. And if anyone knows anything about crime, poverty is one of the, if not the top reason for the type of crime that we're discussing in terms of gun violence in the city of Chicago. If you take lack of resources, lack of hope, lack of power, then you breed crime.
We was growing up, we had summer programs where teenagers would have opportunity to work throughout the summer and make money and buy things. Those have dried up because of politics. There has to be a push for education. There has to be a push for opportunity. You have more people in school, less people on the street committing crimes. And now they have different avenues instead of going and try to sell drugs or get involved with it, because you have now a career that you started. So you are not just stagnant. You're moving forward.
When you give people hope, then they push forward. If you don't give people hope, you have oppression, which means, what's the point?
If I had the means, I would buy that property and reopen that playground up as an educational center and a rec center to give them an opportunity like we had, to grow up not worrying about gangs and drugs and things like that, but to try to be a normal teenager or kid comes in the playground and, have some place to go, have something to do.
Hearing my family tell me their own feelings makes the issues closer to home and feel more real. All the filming I did was from the safety of my own car, and it helps me appreciate that I'm privileged enough to not have grown up there. Sure, the South Side has a lot of work to do, but I still have lots of hope for it.